Good afternoon, El Centro. I have Jason Jackson with me. He's a busy guy, but before I start on this conversation, all the trolls out there, you got something to say? I will not put your message out there. Two, I will block you. Three, it's not called for this crazy election this year. So I'm gonna go back with Jason. 2009. I saw 2009, 2013 when I was homeless. He was there for me. It's one thing that I'm putting this for the record out there. Three, we're Spartans together. Four, I mean, we just go way back. He was there for me. He could testify to that. He could tell you that I was in his office half of the times, kicking it till I finally got to my next destination, and I was in his office at the time. But yeah, we still connect, but we still connect, and that's the reason I'm doing this interview with him because he's running for re-election for All Central. So spill the beans now. It's on you now.
Well, thanks, Daniel. I appreciate the opportunity. I think you've been watching some of your podcasts. It's been good to hear some of the candidates on all the different elections that you've been doing so far, and it's a good medium to get out to the voters and get talk to the people. So, I've been on the council for 9 years and love it. Love serving the residents of El Centro. I was on the planning commission for 4 years before that, so really been serving the citizens of El Centro for 13 years at the city level, and before that, spent 4 years on the chamber board of directors, and just been really active. I think my community service kind of goes back to my Boy Scout days. I was a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout. Really got into the community service and the spirit of helping others, and I've been pretty fortunate. Been treated pretty well and have been successful in a lot of my personal and business endeavors. So, it's an opportunity to give back to my community. And, I'm married. I have two beautiful kids, and really has, I think, probably refocused me even stronger to be able to provide for my kids, and I think that's what we all, every parent that I've talked to, you really want to be able to provide for your children. And so in my case, it's a great opportunity to make El Centro a better place for them than it has been for me. And El Centro has a lot to offer. And over the last 9 years, I think we've come a long way, and we've got a lot more to offer our residents. So been pretty fortunate.
What do you think about the downtown? Is it going to change?
The downtown has been a challenge for years, and I grew up downtown. I spent my entire childhood. My mom had a beauty shop down on 6th and Main, and I grew up down there. I spent a lot of time down there, a lot of time in our public library when it was down on State Street. I mean, I really kind of grew up in that library, as a lot of kids did in that area. We spent a lot of time there. Great summer reading programs, great librarians. And so downtown has a special place in my heart. It's sad to see what a lot of it's become, but there's a lot of challenges down there. And is it ever going to be what it used to be back in the 70s and 80s? No, it's not. Can we reinvent it? Can we do other things? Can we change it to maybe a restaurant row? You're seeing a lot of private investment from La Reseca has bought the old Masonic Temple. They've put a ton of money into it. It's a beautiful facility. I'm actually getting a tour of the inside of it next Friday, and I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, from what I've seen in some of the renderings and some of the photos, I mean, it's going to be a beautiful facility. But what that does is it gives us two first-class restaurants in the downtown area, which is going to drive traffic. For a long time, we talked about needing an anchor store or anchor stores to draw people and draw the other businesses downtown. But an anchor restaurant is the same thing. It draws people downtown. And there's been other inquiries for some of the other buildings that they've seen that investment, they see what it's going to do, and they want to be part of it. So we have had some inquiries in the recent months about possibly people acquiring other buildings and converting them into restaurants. And so if that happens and that comes to fruition, then we replace anchor retail with anchor restaurants, and then we look for the private sector to come in and really infill, the rest of the downtown. And so in essence, we reinvent it that way. So hopefully we'll be able to make some strides that way. I wish all the luck for La Reseca. It's going to be a high-end steakhouse, and then there's going to be 2 restaurants and an event center. The second floor of that facility is going to be for renting out for weddings, quinceañeras, parties, whatever. And I understand it's beautiful. So like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing it next Friday.
And the other question, I just saw the city approved the tiny houses project.
Yeah. I remember you and I having conversations about that, God, 6 years ago, I think. And I think I told you back then, I said, if the opportunity comes and the money is there, it'd be a great project. And I think the timing, the partners that the city has brought in with IVC, it really fits. It really does fit. And it's going to be a showcase project for Imperial Valley, for El Centro. I think you're going to see a lot of other communities come down to El Centro to see this project. $3 million was, in fact, we did a press release today about that, where $3 million grant was given to us for that project. It's going to be 26, it's going to be 16 units, or no, I'm sorry, 14 units, 28 residences, because each unit has two living spaces, with the potential to grow a little bit more. The plan in phase 2 is to add a community center in the middle with like computer labs and such. But what that project is, it's a partnership with IVC to address specifically homeless students. I think a lot of people don't realize how many students are going out to IVC to better themselves, to have an opportunity to better themselves, but they're couch surfing, they're sleeping in their cars. I mean, they're homeless in essence, but they have this drive to get a higher education and make something of themselves. And so this project is really going to take a lot of pressure off their shoulders and really help them be more successful in acquiring their degree and moving on maybe to a 4-year college or further employment. So it's a great project, and we're looking to break ground here pretty soon. So it's good.
Yeah, I'll be looking for the groundbreaking as well myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and just let people know more about what was it we were talking one day about it. How the owners of downtown are not the owners of Main Street. We discussed it. A lot of these owners are not from here; they're from outside the area. And that's the thing that I've been getting calls over that information. I said, well, it's true. They're owners that live downtown. Oh, to change the subject, let's go to your endorsement. That's what I want to piggyback today. Your endorsements.
Sure. Yeah, I've been extremely fortunate. I've got a lot of endorsements that have come on the last few days, last couple of weeks. Yesterday was informed that the Imperial San Diego Labor Council endorsed me. So that's all the building trades unions all over Imperial County that from electricians to plumbers, carpenters, and such. And so all those guys, the welders, they're all part of the building trades union. IBEW, the electrical union that is down here, and have a great relationship with them. They have their apprentice program over in Imperial, do a great job of training our, hey, Teresa.
She's on.
Action Jackson, yeah. They do a great job of training young men to, women to become electricians, which is a great career. And then the Southwest Carpenters Union came on and endorsed me. And then I think some of the things that I'm really the most proud of is that the police officers and firefighters of our city, they have the utmost confidence in me. They realize how hard I work for public safety and work for the city. And when you have your peers, the people that you represent, come on board and endorse you, I think that's that just speaks volumes. And so that was a great honor that both the El Centro Police Officers Association, the El Centro Sergeants Association, and then the El Centro Firefighters Association. All three of them have given me their full endorsement. So I'm very excited about that. And then a big one that I got just a couple hours ago, which I haven't even shared yet, but I'm going to share. This is an exclusive for you, Daniel. This came on. I was endorsed by the Calpat and Centinela correctional officers, and so they don't typically get involved with a lot of the local races, but they saw how my stance with public safety and the fact that a lot of the public safety officers throughout Imperial Valley and El Centro specifically are behind me as a candidate. They felt that it was important to let their members know that I am very strong public safety leader, and that that's the kind of people they want in office. And so they made a bold statement today and giving me their full endorsement from both Centinela and Calapass. So that's a big one. Desert Valley Builders Association, which represents the Coachella Valley and Imperial County, gave me their endorsement. That's all the building, the contractors and all the building trades that go with that. And so that's a big supporter there. And just really been racking them up. It really says a lot. I think when these people come out and they give their support, they give their endorsement, they're letting their members know that, hey, this is a guy that we can get behind. This is a guy that's been there for us. He's worked hard. He's done the work. He's put in the time. And so, yeah, I'm very fortunate to have those endorsements. And then I've got endorsements from a lot of individuals, a lot of elected officials, County Board of Supervisors, Ray Castillo, Mike Kelly, former supervisor Jack Terrasas. These are all people that, for a lot of reasons were mentors for me. Hank Kuiper, Board of Supervisor, District 2, former board and former mayor. You got Ray Castillo, Hank Kuiper, Jack Terrasas, all former mayors of our city, and all mentors of mine. So it's very proud. I'm very proud to have their endorsement and their support too, because it just means a lot. So. Yeah, I've been very fortunate, but those endorsements mean a lot. But we need voters to get out and vote too. I mean, I can't sit back and rest on endorsements. We need people to come out and vote and make sure that we get all of our supporters out there, and we'll get another 4 years and make another 4 years of good policy choices for the city of El Centro.
Yeah, Lupe, what you just said, congratulations. All great endorsements.
Thanks, Lupe. Good friend, Lupe. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
She's
I'm very
my
blessed.
Teacher. She was my teacher.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I've got a lot of great friends, a lot of good supporters out there.
Yeah, and that's what's true. I mean, I'll be working election department. I already got called yesterday, so I'm excited to work on the other side of the. I've been doing it for 20 plus years, and and you were in school when we met Dylan, so we go way back in politics roots as far as that. And people threw his name out today at me at a private chat, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's where we all learn our politics from, past politicians, but we're here to work with the community, and I work close behind with you, closed doors, to work with the community when it comes to issues. And that, I mean, you're just a phone call away, text away.
Yeah.
I can tell people you were there when I was in my lowest of lowest, and you were there. And other politicians were, like you just mentioned, Jack Terrasas. He was one of them as well. My other mentor as well. I call him mentor because he's constantly on my radar too.
Jack and I go way back. He was my little league coach.
Oh my
of course,
God.
he'll tell you that he was coaching little league when he was 12, but but he was my little league coach. So I've known Jack a long time and have a great deal of respect for him, and he's been a great supporter. And when I have tough decisions to make, and I need to bounce ideas off people. Jack is a guy I use. Hank Kuiper, another guy that's been in the trenches a long time, has a lot of experience, and these guys they kind of pave the way for a lot of us. I want to say younger guys, but there's a whole nother crop of guys behind me now that are even younger. But I guess I'm not that young anymore at 47, but. You said you got these 20-something-year-olds that are running for office, and it's great. I mean, if people are doing it for the right reasons, then I think it's great. 20-something-year-olds, 30-year-olds, those are the people that are our future. So if their heart's in the right place and they're doing it for the betterment of whatever it is they're running for, then I'm fully supportive of that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, what do you want to tell the voters out there before election day? What the endeavors you've done. I know the park is one.
Yeah, I think people ask me all the time, what over the last 9 years, what are you most proud about? And I think the two things that really come to my mind, first and foremost, is the Veterans Memorial. Very, I get really emotional with that. I mean, I think that was just one of the top projects for the city of El Centro in probably the last decade or more. And I pushed for that project and got that done in my year as mayor in 2016. But even as important as that is the Measure P. I mean, I took a real gamble. The year before I was mayor in 2015, I sat down with the former city manager and Ruben Duran, and we talked about the finances moving forward, the capital improvements that the city would need, the shortage of parkland. I mean, we're short almost 100 acres of parkland, and we're still short, but we're getting better. We're getting closer to the number we need to be at. But some of the comments were like, well, we're short 100 acres of parkland, but the current parks look horrible. They need work. They're dilapidated, and so we did the Measure P, and I authored that, and got my colleagues to support it, and all my colleagues just did a great job of really supporting that and going out to the voters and making the argument that we were going to do the right thing with this money, this half-cent sales tax, and it's been tough. I mean, you do something like that, and then all of a sudden it passes, and you have this influx of money, and everybody has their hand out. Everybody's like, hey, let's spend that money on this, or let's spend the money on this or that, and my promise to the voters was that it wouldn't be spent for positions and salaries and things like that. It was going to be spent for capital and projects only. And we've stuck by that. We've absolutely stuck by that. We've spent millions of dollars rehabilitating our parks. And you see, Buckland Park hasn't looked this good, and I can't remember. It just looks beautiful right now. All of our parks, we've spent millions of dollars on infrastructure, new lighting, new bathrooms, turf, just all the things to make our parks beautiful. We've built 2 brand new parks, Plank Park and First Responders Park, which will be getting opened here pretty soon. And I can't wait for that park to open. It's ADA accessible. It's got swings in there that children in wheelchairs can enjoy, which I don't think there's any other parks in Imperial County that have that. And then it really is dedicated to our first responders and to our fallen first responders. And we do have some of those. We have police officers, we have firefighters. And so we're going to do a memorial wall. We also dedicated the playground area to Michael Benavides, a firefighter for the city of El Centro that passed away from work-related injuries and stuff. And so, we really tried to encompass all the different aspects of public safety and honor our public safety officers. And so that's what that is. And so very proud of that part. And then we've got the financing because of Measure P that we're going to be building a brand new library, which will be located in the northeast corner of where the old Sears parking lot is. So we're going to move that all the way up to the front of the frontage road, and we're going to break ground, and it's going to be built right there in that corner. Cool. And then we're going to build a brand new police department. And our police department is from the 60s and doesn't have a size. Yeah, it's so small. We've outgrown it. I mean, we have sergeants in broom closets basically because we don't have office space. We have evidence, and things that were seized in storage containers because we don't have the room inside the buildings, and so it's much needed. And so, and these are projects that are, 20, 30, $40 million projects that would never be able to be built if we hadn't passed Measure P. So
I just said that about the police department because my sister's dog passed away not too long ago, and the police officer, thank God he knew who I was, and he's like, he walks us in, we put the dog in the freezer, and it was hard for us to see my sister's dog in the freezer, but he took care of us with respect, and he knew what we had to do to drop off the dog at the police department. And we went in the way he told us to, and I'll never forget that day. I mean, people don't understand that they're there to help us, our PD officers. You know, respect
Yeah.
them. You know, that's another thing they don't understand, the respect of them. Yeah, they might be their cousins, nephews. A lot of mine met through the our side or sheriff side. There are cousins, nephews. There's somebody related to somebody in there. That's why I see it. You know.
Yeah. No, our police officers, our firefighters, they do an amazing job and as we all know, in very difficult times now. It's not. I think when you and I were growing up, it was the thing to do, right? I mean, you ask a kid 30 years ago, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? And everybody's like, well, I want to be, a police officer. I want to be a firefighter, or I mean, I think the top four was probably police, fire, doctor, lawyer, right?
Police, fire. Yeah, those
And
four. Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't know if you ask that question today that there's very many people out there that want to be a police officer. It's a very, very difficult time in that law enforcement industry and even in the firefighter industry. I mean, you see some of these cities where they're ambushing firefighters, setting fires, and then firefighters are showing up to protect their community and they're getting fired on. I mean, what is that about? I don't understand that. People are rushing in to save lives or to save property, and they're being ambushed. I mean, it's kind of sad where our country's gone right now. But hopefully it'll get better, and hopefully there's still people out there that are willing to serve their community in those capacities.
I know you've been getting lots of comments, but I got to put this new comment on here. That's a long one by Jenny Nunez. She said, I'm new to this community, and I'm very impressed. And this candidate, he's the only one who has taken the time to call me and let me know about the election. I wish my previous council had council members like him. I'm voting for Jason Jackson. I hope you will too. So
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. You're probably one of the ones I spoke to in the last few days. I have been outreaching to people and calling. It's a tough time. This campaign is so much different than usual. I really love campaigning. I'm probably a little sick in the head maybe, but I love it. I love going out and knocking on doors and meeting people. I love having the conversations at the coffee shops, hit Starbucks and just sit there for an hour and talking to people. I really enjoy that part. And of course with COVID, and we probably should touch on that conversation too, but COVID has really, changed so much for everybody. I mean, and in the campaigning, it's really changed a lot, so I'm trying to reach out to people through social media. I'm making phone calls. I'm really trying to get out and talk to people. So, and I enjoy doing it. It's not the same as face to face, but it is what it is, and we'll live through this and we'll get through it however we have to. So.
yeah, I mean, I just said COVID. I mean, I'm glad that we're now rolling back slowly. That's what I'm noticing. We're rolling back slowly with the restaurants and all that. The barbers, the nail salon just got open yesterday. So yeah, I'm starting to see that slowly. But in other states, it's like open full wide. When I was in Idaho in June, I was like, what the heck? Idaho didn't really, it's another state. And I tell people it's a different state. Each state has their different laws, I call it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I get phone calls and messages. I mean, really daily. Why can't we open? Why are we not open? My business is suffering. My customers are going to Yuma. My customers are going to Palm Desert. My customers are going to San Diego. It's hard. I mean, I've had so many very emotional phone calls with individuals that are losing everything. They're losing their business that they've worked and grown for years, and now they're telling me, hey, I've got maybe another month of reserve, and if we can't get open, I'm done. I'm losing everything, and it's sad. It's really sad, and it's hard because what do you tell people that restaurants, the restaurant industry has taken such a hit down here in Imperial County, and what do you tell people that, are seeing all their customers literally driving 45, 50 minutes east over to Yuma and having dinner or having lunches, and then they go shopping in the stores, and the unfortunate part of that is, of course, the cities are all suffering too because we're losing all that revenue. Not only the businesses, but the cities and the county are losing revenue um, from sales tax and TOT tax, and we're not, people aren't staying in our hotels. So it's a tough time. COVID has really done a number on the businesses and the communities here in Imperial Valley.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw what Lupe just threw earlier. She says, "Thank you for your support for the homeless shelter senior program. Very much appreciated." You know.
Thank you, Lupe. Yeah, that's I've always had a very strong place. I really try to focus a lot of um, my energy and my policy development into things, people that are most needy. And you've got our seniors. We have such a really a great senior community, but a lot of them don't have the means, or they don't have the support. The senior nutrition program is a great program that Catholic Charities runs, and every year I advocate. And I'll tell you, my colleagues have been great in supporting my initiatives to push as much funding to the senior nutrition program as possible. I give all the kudos to my colleagues because I'm just one vote, but I've been a strong voice in supporting that community because for a lot of these seniors, Lori Edwards worked there for a lot of years, and she's a Kiwanis member with me. So I really got firsthand knowledge about how the senior program worked and the senior nutrition program worked. And some of these people, the only visit they get all day, every day, is the person that's delivering that meal. So not only is it the nutrition and the food that individual needs, but the mental and emotional support of actually meeting and talking to somebody, even if it's only for a couple minutes. It is just so needing in our community. And so I've been very supportive of as much community block grant funding as I can to that senior nutrition program. Catholic Charities does an outstanding job of really addressing and feeding our senior population. And then, Lupe runs the House of Hope, and they do a tremendous job with families that are under a lot of stress and have a lot of issues, and she's not the people that she sees don't come to her doorstep in the best circumstances. And so having an agency like that can take in those women and those families and really support them and help them, that's another great resource we have. We're so fortunate in Imperial Valley that we have such great charities, nonprofit charities that really do so much for our population, whether it's the seniors or it's the um, women and children that find themselves in really tough circumstances, abuse and such. And but we do have, Woman Haven does a great job. There's just so many great programs out there that really help our community. So we are very fortunate here in the Valley.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to one well, she's running for office in Calapat, and she just said we're all somebody needs help over there. We're there to help, and that's what I noticed. We're there to help. We're no matter what city you're at, what the guy just we're here to help. We're tight community, no matter what happens.
Yeah,
Through thick
I
and
think
thin,
that's the
even
thing
this
that,
COVID stopping. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, I think that's the thing that is, one of the greatest things about the Valley and people say, well, why didn't you leave the Valley? Why didn't you've had opportunities, you had a good education, you had job offers to go other places. And yeah, I did, but this is my home. I was born and raised here in El Centro. But you go to other places, and I've had, I've been very fortunate. I've had the opportunity to travel all over the United States and a lot of places all over the world. And I will tell you, the family atmosphere that we have here in Imperial County, it's hard to find. You don't see that. I mean, when people are down, I mean, look at how the community came together to help the people in Nyland when the fires happened up in Nyland. Perfect strangers, people from Calexico, people from El Centro, Brawley. We didn't know these people in Nyland.
San Diego came down as
Yeah,
well.
I
I
mean,
saw it on.
yeah, I mean, you had people. I mean, it's just such a great community that we just all come together and help our neighbors. And so, I wouldn't trade this place for anything. I mean, do we have everything? Do we have everything that I mean, people say, well, we don't have this, we don't have that. Yeah, but we also don't have high crime. We also don't have,
You
some
don't.
of the things that the big city, we don't have, you know, traffic jams and stuff that, you're sitting, we can get across the entire valley in 30 minutes. And, San Diego, you can't even get 3 blocks in 30 minutes. So, you take the pros and the cons, but I'll tell you, I will take the community atmosphere and the people here over just about any place else in the world. I think we just are a really special place. And I hear that a lot from people that come here, whether it's, we hear it a lot from the commanders that come in for the NAFL Centro. They come in, they do their 1 or 2 years, and they all say, "Wow, this place is just so warm." Everybody just embraces me, and they've taken me in, and they're so hospitable. And these are people that have probably been on bases all over the world and never experienced that. So, it really says something when the outsiders are coming in and saying that about our community.
Oh, and you're right on that. I met a few commanders when I go on base with the veteran, and yeah, they're like, man, and they're from other states or other countries, and they're just here.
Yeah.
They're just here, and they're tripping out. And I do that all the time when I go with this veteran up to base, and I'm like, yeah, we're from El Centro. We're just here to take care of Blue Angel. Before they shut down the Blue Angels, we were out on there just taking shots. I was taking good shots before the Blue Angels got shut down. So Josh said, just good, Josh Moreno, good luck.
Hey,
Another
Josh, how
one.
you doing?
Your wife is listening.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky she still puts up with me. But thank you, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, and to another thing, what do you want to tell your voters out there? What do you want to tell them? What to do. You know.
I'll say, and no disrespect to the people that are running against the incumbents or running against me necessarily, but this is a tough job, and it is a job. I mean, yeah, we do it. It's a uh, kind of, in essence, a lot of volunteerism and stuff. But, if you do it the right way and you put in the hours, it really becomes a job. And I love it. And we do a lot of work. There's a lot to it. You see. You see candidates that come in, and not just for running for our positions, but other positions. They say, "Oh, we're gonna come in and we're gonna fix this, we're gonna fix that." We'll clean up downtown, in a week, or the homelessness will be fixed if I get elected, and all the streets will be paved, and I understand, because at one time I wasn't an incumbent, and I called and made statements too that the then incumbents probably said, "Yeah, wait until it gets to us and sees how difficult the job this is." And it's true. I mean, it's I saw somebody the other day said that they're gonna fix all the issues downtown. Well, I hate to break it to them, but that's not going to happen. What they don't know is that there's people that own those buildings that I don't even know if they know where El Centro is. They're the owners of these buildings. They could care less, what happens to them, and they use it as a tax write-off or whatever the case may be. They inherited it from somebody. So we're putting in some ordinances now that are going to try to get these people to at least take care of their facades, and get keep the painting and graffiti and vandalism down. But the reality of that is we can't force a building owner to rent their building. We can't force a building owner to renovate their building. We can't force a building owner to bring in businesses or even see businesses. I mean, we've had buildings downtown that we've had businesses that have inquired, want to rent their buildings, and they have no desire to rent their building. So you can't force somebody to do that. It's their own property, and they have property rights. And so what we can do is we can put ordinances in place to make sure that they maintain their buildings. But there's just a lot of obstacles, and homelessness. Anybody that doesn't think that this city council has been working on the homeless issues here in this city, just they just don't have a clue. I mean, we meet all the time. I mean, I've had special one-on-one meetings with different agencies. We've done task force. We've met with people. We've gone after grants. We've done a lot of things, but we were the lead agency. El Centro PD was the lead agency in going after Imperial Ministries, which we knew for years. We're bringing people in here under bad circumstances. They weren't on the up and up, and they were bringing people in here to our community, and then they were just basically dumping them on the streets. And so our police officers were finding out that these individuals were coming in from all over the place, and they started investigating it. They were the lead agency that turned all that evidence over to the FBI, and then finally the FBI acted on that. So, that was a big blow to the influx of people coming into our community that was ending up homeless on our streets. And so we've done a lot to address that. And, we have a task force now made up of one of our police sergeants and our code enforcement officer, and they go out and they're constantly working with the homeless individuals. We have a city program for reunification. I mean, we work also with Spread the Love, and they do reunification, but we also do it ourselves too. I mean, we try to get people united with families that aren't from here, that somehow found, under bad circumstances, found their way to El Centro and don't have the financial means to get back home. I personally have donated to that fund many, many times, as well as supporting other agencies, Spread the Love. And I mean, they do a great job in unifying people and getting people back to where they belong. And so we've done a lot to address it. Is it perfect? No. Is it something that's going to be fixed overnight? Is it something that might be fixed ever? I don't know. I don't think that's nobody, I think, truthfully can answer that, because the truth of that issue is you do have a population that want to be homeless, that don't want to be tied down. They in essence, they want to live off the grid kind of thing. I mean, that's really why they're Slab City. You have people out there that just want to live off the grid. You have a mental health aspect that is very, very challenging. And we've just we got the Jackson House now that's helping with that. They're looking at building another facility that will help with the mental health aspects of some of these individuals. And so we're bringing in the agencies. We're working with behavioral health for the county and really trying to address that. But it's not as simple as just snapping your fingers and being able to fix homelessness. It's a very, very complex situation. And people say, well, then build a homeless shelter. So who's going to pay for building a homeless shelter? And how are you going to pay to run the homeless shelter? People that say, well, we're going to build a homeless shelter if I get elected. Okay. So then what programs are you going to cut? Which employees are you going to furlough? Are you going to run, the parks program 3 days a week and shut it down the other 4 days? Are you going to close the library and only keep it open 2 days a week? I mean, there's only so much money in the pot. And I think, understanding how that works really gives, the experience is so needed right now. I mean, COVID-19 is going to be a tremendous drain of all cities, not just El Centro, but every city and every community. And honestly, I don't think now's the time to have individuals that don't have the knowledge or the experience, or that are untested and unproven to try to run our city. I mean, it is a very complex and very important role. And right now, we don't have unfortunately, we just don't have the ability to sit back and let somebody learn on the job for a year or two, because this is going to be something that we're going to have to make some tough decisions over the next probably 6 to 12 months. And we're going to have to do a lot of things to keep the city open and keep employees. I mean, I'm very proud to say that, we've never, during my time on the council, we've never furloughed employees or laid off any employees while we were having during the recession. A lot of the cities, in fact, every city, including the county, had furloughs and layoffs. El Centro was the only one that didn't. So we're running a very tight ship. We balance our budget. We're very fiscally responsible. We do have reserves, but we're going to be dipping into those reserves this year probably, because that's what reserves are for when you have a rainy day. And definitely COVID-19 is certainly that rainy day that city's going to have to get over. So But we'll get through it, And like I said, I have complete confidence in this community. I have complete confidence in my colleagues, and I got to tell you, we have the greatest staff in any city, this county. Our staff is just outstanding. They're dedicated, they care, they work long hours, um, and they do what they need to do to make El Centro work. And really, those are the individuals that make us on the council look good. I mean, we set policy, but we can set policy all day long. If the staff doesn't buy into it and they're not 100% on board, things might get done, but they get done a lot slower, let's say, and so we have staff that just really just jump in and go to work and get things done. And we've been very successful, very successful.
Not you said that because I know what's her name always keeps a budget to its par. Your treasurer, she's been on. I seen her for past 5+ years on the budget, and she keeps a balanced budget for the city of El Centro. And she's a good accountant. I call it that. I mean, like you said, the radio doing fun. A lot of cities I knew went through that too, through LA, through Sacramento, and other states. And I know what you're talking about because I have a maintenance guy that works for El Centro, and he when he works, he's out there. I see PD here on the east side. I see the PD in the west side, north side. They're doing their jobs, and people understand that they're lucky they didn't get furloughed. Like you said, we're the only city, which it's great to know to hear that. We're keeping it real. We're keeping El Centro strong. I mean, because we're like the tip. I consider us the capital of all county because we have everything here.
Yeah. No, and that's another thing people don't realize is we're a city of roughly 50,000 people, but Monday through Friday we swell to 70, 75, 80,000 people because we've got the county, we've got IED, we've got these other entities where all these people from outside of El Centro come in, and that's a tremendous burden on our public works, on our public safety. Um, we staff for a city of 50,000, and or 45, 50,000 people, that we're staffed for that. We're not staffed for 75, 80,000 people. And Monday through Friday, that's what we're dealing with. So, if you're a police officer and you want experience and you want to work, come to El Centro because there's a lot of work. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of, you're going to gain more knowledge in 1 year working in El Centro than you do in any of these other cities working for 5 years. Our guys are they're blowing through calls all day long because there's so much stuff happening in the city of El Centro. If you want to be a firefighter and you want to actually, go and do calls and run calls all day, come to El Centro. If you're lazy and you don't want to work, then, I guess go someplace else. But El Centro is definitely the place to be if you want that experience and you want to grow in your profession because there's so many opportunities for different calls of service. And public works, they're constantly working. We got to keep our streets going. That's the other thing. When we swell to these numbers of 75, 80,000 people, that's all those extra vehicles on our roads. That's more wear and tear. That's so many opportunities for things to happen that our public works people are working on, and then our parks. Really, our parks are looking outstanding right now. And you have a lot of the residents from other cities that are coming to El Centro to use our facilities, because they are the best facilities. And now, we're opening our aquatic center next week. Very excited to get that open. $14 million project that, we're just very fortunate to have. And it is a state-of-the-art facility. Competition pool, lazy river, warm-up pool. It is something that our residents will be able to enjoy for years and years to come. And so happy to get that finally opened and let people get back in and experience that beautiful facility. We had our skate park reopen a few weeks ago, and if you go by there, you've got a whole bunch of happy kids over there and adults. It's funny to go by there, but there's people our age that were skaters back when we were kids, and they're out there skating still. But it's great to see. And in this pandemic, you've had people that have been just really pent up in their homes for so long. We had an individual come to council and PTSD veteran, and his release or his relief from PTSD was skateboarding. And he was having to drive out of county to other facilities to go skateboard, and that was his therapy, and uh, just a really heartfelt, story. And unfortunately, at the time, the state had us where we couldn't open our skate park, and I really felt bad for the individual. I mean, here, this is his outlet. This is his ability to deal with PTSD, and we couldn't help him with that at the time. And now we have it open, and I'm sure he's out there probably every single day. And I did see him out there last week, and he's probably out there all the time now. And so, getting these people back out, I think people need to realize that, health, when you talk about health, there's so many aspects of it. Mental health and emotional health are just as important as medical health. And so some of these people, they need that outlet to walk in the parks, or, go experience, the skate park, or, people swim for their health. I mean, it's, not only for exercise, but probably therapeutic also. So when we get those facilities back open full, then we'll have a lot more people. I think we'll start getting their health back.
Just like Buckland Park, I've noticed has been packed lately. Every other night, it's getting packed with walkers. Just at Buckland Park.
Yeah. Well, as the temperatures come down, the weather gets a little bit better. You're seeing more and more people out there, and and for the most part, I think people are still adhering to the masks and social distancing, and that's what we're encouraging. We're saying, look, take advantage of our parks, take advantage of getting that exercise and getting that fresh air and getting out of the house, but respect your neighbor. Respect the fact that even if you don't necessarily believe in wearing a mask, there's others that do, and you respect that. And that's all we ask, is just say, look, be healthy, be responsible, be respectful to the other individuals that you might encounter when you're out, walking at the park, or utilizing the skate park, or next week when the aquatic center opens, utilizing the aquatic center, and just be aware of your surroundings. And if you're, out and about with people, wear your mask. And it's a simple thing. I wear it all the time, and I'm out and about, and I'm essential worker. And so I've been working this entire time, but I still have a lot of interaction with people. And so I've been wearing, masks for a long time when I'm out and about with people. But, it's I know it's uncomfortable, especially down here with the heat. It's not always the greatest thing, but it saves lives, and it saves people from getting sick. And nobody wants the responsibility of knowing that they got somebody sick because they, maybe they weren't showing symptoms. Maybe they're asymptomatic. And so they're like, I don't need to wear a mask. But, what kind of personal responsibility or guilt you might have if you, infect somebody unknowingly and somebody gets sick, or even worse, they die from that. So I always tell people, look, think about that. Think about the worst case scenario of you getting somebody else sick. And, if that doesn't motivate you to wear a mask, I don't know what will. I mean, that to me would be something I wouldn't want to have to live with.
And you're right about that. I had to carry my mask wherever I go. If I had to go to the store or something quick, it's in my pocket now. It's just like stays in my pocket too. I have to wash it. I use the washable one. But yeah.
I think we all have a collection of masks now.
Yeah.
Everybody's
style now.
Yeah.
But now the election one, that's going to be different for electioneering. I call that electioneering because I know that's going to be brought up in our training pretty soon. So the face mask is electioneering because of campaigns.
Yeah. No, it's going to be, everything has changed. Our new normal is definitely, new, and something that we're all getting used to. And until there's a full vaccine that, is readily available and accessible to everybody, this is the normal for the next probably 6 to 12 months.
I had another question. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I don't know if it's this or our city. Are we looking at a library soon? Or we're looking at
the libraries? We'll be breaking ground first quarter next year, in the spring. And that's the one I was talking about. That will be in that northeast corner of the old Sears parking lot.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know is that whole facility there, what used to be, back in our time, the Miller's Outpost and the Mervyn's and Sears, that is all owned by the city now. That was gifted to the city It was a long process. It actually started when I was mayor in 16 and didn't finish, and it went through my year as mayor, through the next mayor, and then finished off with Cheryl. So it went through three mayors before it finally got completed, but it was a donation for the city. So we took that property. Um, and there's a lot of challenges with taking on a property like that. There's a lot that's going to be, have to be demolished because it's just not, it's not feasible to retrofit it and turn anything into it. But that did open up some possibilities and some opportunities for the city, and we're taking advantage of that. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is building that brand new library on that northeast corner. So
CL
the rendering.
Central, we got that going on, and then we got so many things going on in El Centro.
Yeah, El Centro's the place to be. I mean, people say, well, I don't know what people run on, I guess, when everything's going pretty well. And I mean, look, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I was talking to some staff members today and they were just like, well, what do people run on when everything is good? When
That was a good one.
streets are paved, projects going forward, staff is happy, staff is, we've negotiated some good contracts with our staff. Giving them some good pay increases, that trying to get them up to par with other cities, or like cities like El Centro. And so when all that stuff is going in a positive manner and leadership is working, what do you run on? It's easy to run against people when things are bad. When streets are full of potholes, when there's no businesses. I mean, look at all the new businesses we've brought in. Let's take the last 6 months out of the equation because this is an anomaly with this pandemic. But prior to COVID, I mean, look at the things that were coming online. I mean, all the new businesses that have come on board, decisions that this council's made, that I've been a part of, working with private investors. Take one, Marty Coyne, great business guy, here in the Valley, took a huge risk. People think, we made a tax deal with Mr. Coyne to acquire the old direct auto dealership that had sat there, was a blight on the city for several years. And, people not totally understand that deal. They think that we just wrote him a check. And what that was is it was a percentage of his sales tax that he was able to keep for a certain amount of time and up to that number that we negotiated with him. But all the risk was on Mr. Coyne as the private business. I mean, he came in and he bought the facility and he spent all that money in renovations. And if he had completely failed, it would have cost the city nothing. We didn't give him anything. We allowed him to keep part of his sales tax revenue to a certain amount. And so he still had to be successful. He still had to run his business and sell things and create sales tax, and employ, workers. And so look at that. Look at what happened with that area. It was very much a blight to the city. It was right in the corridor, the entryway of El Centro. And we worked out that deal with a private business owner. He acquires that property. He renovates it. He moves his business there. Very successful. Then brings in a Starbucks, then brings in a Panera Bread, and a Habit Burger. And so that whole corner is just completely, redone. And it's an economy. I mean, it's a boom to our economy. I mean, we've got 3 new restaurants, or 2 restaurants and a Starbucks, and a new dealership there that's, off-road vehicles and such. So it's creating sales tax dollars to the city. It's creating jobs for our residents, and it took a big piece of blight off of a main corridor in the city. These are the kind of decisions I've been part of, and my colleagues have supported, that we've done to really change El Centro. We did the same thing with Olive Garden. We made a tax incentive deal with Olive Garden. You saw that whole little strip mall over there had been vacant for years and years and years. The only place that was in there was AT&T right at the corner, and all the rest of it was empty. And we made a deal with Olive Garden. They came in, and within 6 months after Olive Garden opened, all those other stores came in. We got the Bevmo, we got the Ulta, We got the yogurt place. I mean, it's just, Menchie's. We got all those stores, the vitamin shop, all that stuff came in. Well, what's that all do? That created jobs, that created sales tax revenue to the city, and it took an area that wasn't being utilized. It wasn't necessarily a blight because it wasn't new buildings, but they weren't being used. They were just empty, and really just transformed that whole corner. So that's really what being on the city council is about, is finding individuals that can bring something to the table and negotiate good deals that are beneficial to the long-term success of our city.
It's like the old Walmart. I went there recently before I went to Idaho,
Mhm.
and I went to that booth store to check on who owns it. And I found out who owns the owner, and next thing you know, it's like a booming area right there where the old Walmart used to be. Now it's a booming area right there too, by
Yeah,
Food for Less. You know.
yeah, that was another blight to the city. After Walmart built their new facility, the old Walmart sat there for years, and private investor came in and purchased it. Subdivided it all up and built some strip mall areas in there, and transformed the rest of it. There's so many success stories in the city of El Centro. I mean, all of our businesses are here. I mean, we're really fortunate that everybody else from the valley comes to El Centro to shop because we have the mall, we have the do-it-yourself stores in the Home Depots and the Lowe's, and obviously Costco and some of the big box stores, Target. But we've been very fortunate. We got new townhouses. They're almost complete. Well, the third phase is almost complete. We're just finishing up behind Target. I mean, beautiful facility. YK America, a great partner in the city of El Centro, came in and developed all those townhouses. Something that Imperial Valley didn't have. Gated townhouse lifestyle where you've got all your amenities, pool, exercise rooms, and everything. Beautiful facility. And so there's another thing that's been brought in. We've just approved a couple more loans for some affordable housing. Really trying to push affordable housing because there is a need for affordable housing here in El Centro and in Imperial
Big
Valley,
time.
for all the other cities too. So we've got a whole bunch of units coming in that are be breaking ground here pretty quick, and probably be built out by mid to end of 2021. That will increase our inventory of affordable housing. A lot of infill projects, a lot of private contractors that have been buying up empty lots and doing infill projects, which really help those communities, those areas that you have a community that's got one burned out empty lot, and of course what happens to that. It becomes where everybody throws their trash and their dead tires and everything. It becomes a blight to that area, and so we've really been pushing. We've got some really good local contractors that have come in and purchased a lot of those and renovated them and done a lot of infill projects that have really created a lot of good things for those communities. I mean, it's horrible to live next to a burned out building or burned out house that nobody cares about for a bunch of years. So having those contractors that are willing to come in and buy those and then renovate them is great.
Yeah, and you're right on that. I'm just putting out the comments from the last segment. But yeah, you said it all. You hit it where I wanted to hit on housing. You hit the nail. So you're that's awesome that El Centro's doing that. You got people to understand that El Centro is you guys are working behind the scenes as nothing as they imagine. There's nothing's working behind the scenes when you guys are working behind the scenes in housing and development, which is awesome. You know.
Yeah. I think what people need to understand is this isn't one of those, I think people maybe have a misconception that being on a city council is like, oh, it's only 2 meetings a month, and boy, if it was only 2 meetings a month, I'd have a whole bunch of free time. I mean, there is probably not a week that goes by that I don't put 20, 30 hours a week in. And when COVID first hit, there was a few of us that were putting in 30, 40, 50 hours. I mean, we were having EOC briefings every single morning. It's a sign that things are getting better. We're having EOC briefings twice a week now, but we were having EOC briefings from our fire chief every single morning just to keep track of the developments. We were having special COVID meetings to keep our community engaged and educated, to let them know what's out there, what to look out for, how to be prepared, what things you can do to stay safe. We've been very active in the business community and trying to help them through some grants and also through education on having them get ready for when they are allowed to open. As some of these businesses come back online, we took some CARES Act money and we purchased a bunch of thermometers. And there was a time where I think we all realized and we all experienced, there was a time where you couldn't find sanitizer, you couldn't find masks and gloves, and you certainly couldn't find thermometers. And so we went out and purchased a few hundred thermometers, and we made them accessible to any business that had a storefront that had a city license, city business license, that were in good standing with the city. We gave them to them for free, because that was something that we could do as a city to help those businesses help themselves and keep our residents safe and keep, the potential spread of COVID down. And so, things like that we've done, we've been very proactive. I want to commend our mayor. Efren's done a great job. He and I have worked together. This is our second time around as mayor and mayor pro tem working together. And so we've really built a great relationship and, just done a tremendous amount of things, in addressing COVID. And he's really dealt with it. It's been a tough year to be a mayor. I mean, in any city. To be a mayor in a time like this is tough. And so he's done a great job, and I've been fortunate to be able to work with him hand in hand to really address things. And we have a great council and great staff that have really been there every step of the way in addressing all these issues for our residents.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I got to reach out to groundbreaking when it comes to tiny houses, because I want to be there when that groundbreaking happens. Tiny
Absolutely.
house.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to. We're off to the hour now. I just want to know what you want to talk.
All right. Wow, we're just talking.
Yeah.
No, you know what it is I haven't been able to talk to anybody, so this is great. I mean, just to sit down and talk to some people and get some feedback, it's great. I appreciate the people that have sent some messages that you've popped up on the screen to see those, and it's a great opportunity to get out and talk to people. I miss chamber events. I miss going to breakfast at Juniors and sitting there and talking to there's that table of old guys there that solve the world's problems every morning. Love talking to those guys, but yeah, it's tough not being able to get out and about. So I definitely appreciate your the opportunity to come on with you and just talk about what's going on in El Centro. We got a lot of good stuff in El Centro, a lot to be proud of. I like to focus on the positive things. And will there always be some negative things that you can talk about? Sure, you can walk down a street in any city and pick out a little patch of graffiti or some pigeon nests with pigeon droppings or whatever it is that you somehow want to highlight. I mean, you can do that in any city. There's not a city in this world you couldn't find a place to do that in. But I prefer to talk about the positives, the new jobs and new businesses, street projects that we've got done, infrastructure. I mean, Caltrans and the city finally getting the I-8 overchain done, and what that's going to mean for El Centro going south, and having the Imperial Overpass go all the way down, eventually connecting to McCabe Road, and how that's going to open up that whole area for more businesses. I mean, we already have people that have shown interest. They already have acquired that land in that area, and they want to build some hotels and some restaurants. And so, there's just a lot of good stuff going on that we've been a part of, and I've been fortunate to be a part of for the last 9 years. And just looking forward to another 4 years of really representing El Centro and really taking us to that next step. I think, I'm certainly very proud of my city. I'm proud of where we are today. I'm proud of my colleagues. I'm proud of my staff. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a council member in any other city, to be honest with you. This city is just got a tremendous amount of experience and wealth when it comes to leadership, and we're doing the job and we're getting things done. And I look forward to 4 more years and seeing where we go from here. Maybe 4 more years we'll be doing another podcast and talking about our new police station, our new library, and Eventually, one of the things that's down the line that we've talked about is an event center. As our city gets bigger and the valley gets bigger, there's going to be a need for a full size, full amenity event center that can hold several hundred people, or maybe even several thousand people that we can utilize to bring in for entertainment. Whether that's music and that type of thing, so as far as entertainment, or the road shows, that you see, the home shows and the bridal shows and all those things that come where they have event centers like that. That's something that's down the road, but as we get bigger, that's definitely something that we'll be looking at. And as I talk about that, if you haven't done your census paperwork and you haven't gone online, get your census done. People don't realize how important that is. Businesses look at census numbers to make decisions on if they want to locate businesses in your community. And we are under 50,000 right now. 50,000 really is that key number that a lot of people, a lot of businesses look at. We're fortunate that we've really been able to educate a lot of these businesses on understanding that the dynamics of having Mexicali and Mexicali residents that come over and shop in Imperial Valley. If we hadn't been able to do that, we would have never gotten the mall. The mall would have never come and located in a city of 45,000 people. But when you tie in the million people that are just south of us in Mexicali, that's really what brought the mall to El Centro. So, but we did, census is very important. So please, take the couple minutes. We've got some programs and some incentives coming up. We're doing some hot dogs and sodas and stuff giveaways over the next week, and really trying to push, getting people to fill out their census, because it is important on federal and state funding to the cities, and it's very important on luring some of these businesses that want to maybe possibly put a franchise or put a business in our community to see that bigger number. So it's very important.
Yeah, Lupe just said, being a part of a great team, we have witnessed this in our Central City Council meetings. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, very, very much true. I'm very blessed to have a great team around me. No one person can do this by themselves. I think one of the things that El Centro, we stand apart from a lot of the other cities is you don't see the bickering, you don't see the the showboating on the dais, between one council member and another. I'm not saying that we don't have disagreements on policy and we don't have disagreements on maybe a direction of something. But we do that, behind closed doors. We do that in closed session. We talk those things out, and then we come out as a united front. And that's one thing I'm very proud of with El Centro, is we don't have the drama that some of the other cities unfortunately have. I mean, when we go up and we vote, and I've been, recently I was on the wrong end of a vote on cannabis. I've been against cannabis for the city of El Centro, and I'm supportive of medical cannabis, but just didn't feel like we needed recreational cannabis in storefronts in El Centro. So I had been voting against it, and just recently lost a 3-2 decision. That's democracy. That's what the city is about, and so we're moving forward, and I'm fully supportive of making that process as transparent as possible, and getting the best companies that we can that to provide that service. And I wasn't part of that vote, but it doesn't mean I'm going to work against it or sabotage it or try to be disruptive. And I'm not going to make, snide remarks from the dais or anything like that. We work together. We vote. We move together as a council. We move together as a city. And that's one of the things that I think is so refreshing about El Centro and the leadership that we currently have is that we can agree to disagree. And people say that all the time. Do they really mean it? I mean, we'll agree to disagree, and then we move forward, and then everybody thinks that we're all on board, and that's the way it's supposed to be. We push it, and we do the best we can for the city. And if we didn't have people with different opinions and different ideas, then we wouldn't need 5 of us on the council. We could just put one on the council and make all the decisions. So it's refreshing to have different ideas and different perspectives, and coming from different backgrounds. So we make those decisions and we move together as a city.
And we will. I mean, I've seen it since it started. I call Efrain, did an interview with him in the beginning when it started. Next, there's conference, and yeah, we're working strong out Central. I mean, I always say Spartan strong, Central strong.
That's right. Central Strong, Bleed Blue. Yeah, no,
But yeah,
it's a great opportunity. It's a great city to work in and a great city to live in. So very fortunate.
so those that are on here, share. All those, put the comments, share this as you guys are, supporting. Make it happen, you guys. Jenny Nunez just said, yeah, when absentees come, we'll be there. No delays. No, Jenny. By the way, there's gonna be drop boxes. I'll be one of those guys at the county. There's gonna be drop boxes in the county buildings outside. So I'll be one of those guys out there. Just see me out there. You throw your election absentee out there. Those are little heads up. I just got found out yesterday from the county.
Yeah,
There's
and
gonna
I
be
think the
drop
ballots
boxes.
are dropping. I think they're coming out next week. So
Hmm.
everybody be looking for those ballots and um, get them filled out and get them turned in as soon as possible and get it out of the way. We need to move forward um, and we've got so much work to do. So let's get through this election. Let's get the people back on that need to be on and we'll continue to move in a positive manner. And I think we really are the envy of all the other cities. We've got a lot of things going for us. We've got a great leadership team. We've got great staff. And, I think a lot of people look at El Centro and we are what everybody else strives to be. And so, and that's a great feeling. I mean, I hear it from some of the other cities, sometimes they'll quietly come to me and say, God, we wish we were a little bit more like you guys. Or we wish we would get along like you guys do. And I say, look, we don't always get along, but, but the fact that the perception is that we always get along really speaks volumes for my colleagues and I is that, like I said, we can agree to disagree, but we're going to show a united front because that's what, that when you get down to it, that's what developers want to see. That's what people outside of Imperial Valley that want to do business in a city, they want to see a council that can work together. They want to see leadership. They want to see people that, um, you know, walk the walk and just don't talk the talk. And a lot of people, you see some of these other cities, they say all the right things, and then these developers come in, and then it's just like, whoa, what happened? Where's the council that said that they were going to do this or do that or help us with all these different levels? And you don't hear that in El Centro. We've been very, our staff is great. They're very responsive to our developers that come in and look, we need developers. We need people to come in here and build, and we need people to
No, you don't need
bring new.
postage, Jenny. I just interrupting you. Jenny just posted. Do you need postage this time? No, it's already like prepaid on there. But you just. I'm telling everybody to walk in their absentee ballots at city location, City of El Centro, the county building, and they'll be putting that information out pretty soon. I'll be putting a press release on that. Yeah, I know that it's gonna be boxes. Gonna be early boxes out there already. So
Yeah.
Jenny, don't worry about it. Contact me if you want to. I'm one of the poll workers. So yeah,
Good.
I love working polls. I love working polls every year.
So there's no excuse to not vote. You don't even have to pay the 50 or 60 cents now. It is. I don't even know how much a stamp is now. Is it almost 60 cents, I think, but you don't even have to pay for a
60
stamp.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fill it out and turn it in.
Yeah, Jenny, I'll be out there. Don't worry about that. Just inbox me. I'll be on this channel, Culture Leadership Today. I'll be sharing all that on my Facebook page and my personal page and my YouTube channel pretty soon. But yeah, Jenny, share this as much as you can since you met Jason. He's a classmate of mine. We went way back. He knows what homelessness is. He knows what everything's. And he's true to his word because I seen him in action. He has his own business, and we me and him go way back since high school. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like we're going way, way back, huh? As the older we get, yeah.
we're both we're about the same age, by the way.
I know, but when I first got elected to council, all this was all the same color. I don't know what's going on. It is a little stressful. I like
The
to say
babies.
that I like to tell Sandra, my wife, that my hair was all the same color when we got married, but I think it might be that the city council that has done this to me. But either way, it's I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I get a lot of it's just a great feeling to help people. And I had somebody call me the other day, needed some help, elderly couple, individual, disabled, and was having issues getting new trash cans. I guess the wheels on their trash cans weren't very good, and they were having a hard time getting into the curb. Talk to CR&R. We have a great representative that works at CR&R that I have contact with, and called Francisco and said, "Hey, can you help me out? This elderly couple, disabled person, needs some new trash cans, and he jumped right on it for me and took them out the next day, and I got a call from that individual thanking me for that, and that's great. I mean, but that's people ask me, they go, "Well, are you going to run for higher office?" And I got to tell you, I'm happy on city council. I really am. Because I can affect change right away. Like that, for instance, that was a phone call, and the next day, those trash cans were delivered, and that might not seem like a big deal for you and me, but for that elderly couple, that disabled individual that's having problems wheeling their trash can out, that's huge for that individual, and I was able to assist him in getting new trash cans. And so it's simple, but it's that help that you can do on a local level. You get up into the state legislature or Congress or something like that, you don't have the ability to see that immediate effect on helping people. And so I really enjoy being on the city council.
Jane just put a comment right now. The person who called and said there's a fishing competition for the kids. He's involved with, I can't remember the organization, but I want to take my kids. Then it's True Kids give prizes and scholarships.
Yeah. So what Jane's talking about is my Kiwanis Club. Great club. Jenny, I need to reach out to you. Maybe you might want to join our Kiwanis Club. I don't know what you do for a living or anything, but when COVID's over, we'll start meeting again. We're doing Zoom calls right now, but it's a service organization that's really based around children. And what we do is I've been the chair of the fishing derby for the last 7 or 8 years, Imperial County Fishing Derby, and that usually is done the weekend between Super Bowl and playoffs out at Sunbeam Lake. And we work with the county Fish and Game and the state Fish and Game, and we get trout stocked into Sunbeam Lake. It's a free fish day. You bring your kids out. They don't have to have fishing licenses. And the great thing about that, and I love fishing. I caught my first fish at Sunbeam Lake, so it's one of those things that's very, very it's very emotional for me, because my grandmother took me out fishing, and I still remember that day. I mean, I was probably 6, 7 years old and caught my first fish, and is at Sunbeam Lake. And so now, all these years later, I've been the chairman of the fishing derby, and our Kiwanis Club is just a great organization, great individuals, and they all come out. Some of the Imperial County Fish and Game wardens come out, or commissioners come out, and we go around the lake and we help kids. And you have a lot of single mothers that come out with their kids, and they don't know, they don't know how to fish, but their kid wants to go fishing, or they hear about it. And so they all walk away with a free T-shirt, fishing derby shirt, and we give out prizes, fishing tackle and poles and tackle boxes. But I think the thing that gets us, gives a lot of us the most satisfaction is just walking around that lake. And we'll go out there with hooks and bobbers and all the things that we need. We'll carry with us, and we just walk around the lake, and we find the kids that some of those kids are like little pros. I mean, they don't need any help. They're like, get away, we got this. But some of the kids, they don't know. I mean, I've seen kids out there with saltwater fishing poles with hooks bigger than the fish. I don't know, they're trying to catch a great white out of Sunbeam Lake, and it's just because they don't know, and they haven't had anybody to help them and mentor them. And so it's really nice to get there and reel it in and kind of fix it up. And if they don't have the right kind of pole, we always have extra poles that we loan out, or at the end of the day, we give them a lot, to these kids. And we get them all set up, get the right rig put together, and cast it out there, and help them catch their first fish. And I'll tell you, nothing is better than seeing the expression on those kids' face when they catch their first fish. I mean, that's Clem Muller. He was a longtime Imperial County Fish and Game Commissioner. Great guy, passed away a few years ago. Another, mentor of mine that just taught me a lot about giving back. And he always used to say, you can never replace that feeling of catching your first fish. And it's true, because to this day, I mean, more than 40 years later, I remember catching my first fish at Sunbeam Lake. And so these kids, they light up, and it's a great experience. And so been doing that for several years. I think it's 8 or 9 years now. I think closing on 10 years of chairing that. And I love it. It's just a great event, and we usually
Glad you
get
said
three or
that.
four.
You remember we should go swimming out there in the 80s?
Yeah, I
The
do.
Sunby Lake?
I do. God. Well, I remember. I mean, I shouldn't say this because I'll get in trouble. But I mean, I remember swimming in canals and stuff. I remember Dippy Duck was big back in
I
the
remember that one.
late '70s. Really
We
came
all
on
did
strong.
that.
We all swam in canals,
We,
and
we all swam in canals.
yeah, and because
I,
we had the plunge, and that was it. And a lot of people weren't fortunate enough to have their own swimming pools, and so yeah, but don't do that. No swimming in canals anymore. But yeah, growing up, a lot of us, you think back of all the things that we did when we were kids, and we wonder how we survived some of that stuff. But we did, I guess. But no, it's good times. And Sunbeam Lake was one of the places we used to go out there and swim and fish and everything. So yeah.
and now you're talking back about fishing. I remember too. My grandpa took me out there in Sealy, but I was living in Sealy at the time because in high school I would take the bus to Sealy. My parents bought a house there now. After my dad passed away, we came back to El Centro. But over there, it was like Sealy was like the Sunby Lake was our theme park when I lived in Sealy at the time when I was in high school. It was our theme park. There, let's go walking to the Sunbeam. That's where you see everybody walking over there, years and years and years. And now nobody walks there no more. But I heard, just back in those days, everybody used to walk from Sealy to the beach, Sunby Lake, every day. That was our
Yeah. Yeah, Sunbeam Lake is a big part of my childhood. Not only not only the actual lake and fishing, but I played t-ball, farm league, and little league out there. And I said earlier, Jack Terrasas was my coach. We played out there in the Sunbeam League, and so so I grew up and learned how to play baseball out there at Sunbeam Lake, in the fields out there. So yeah, a lot of history. And you think back, there's a lot of history for a lot of us in some of these places. Sunbeam Lakes and Buckland Parks. And I remember having the Boy Scout Scoutorama over at Buckland Park. Of course, I remember before that it used to be over at Valley Plaza, when Valley Plaza was a kicking place with Woolworths and Thrifties and all those Stride Right, all those stores. And but times have changed. Some for the better, some maybe not necessarily for the better, but the times will definitely change, and they'll continue to change.
I remember when I was small, that's the time I was going to Lincoln School. We lived in El Centro, and I would ride my bike from Adams to Valley Plaza as a kid every time and go to Thrifties and see my dad's friends, and they'll give me an ice cream, and I come back home. Like, where'd you get that? Oh, I got the Thrifties. Or, back in the day, we were just bike riders. We were kids. We didn't know what to do. We didn't have, then Atari came in. That's what people understand. That's when Atari came in. That's when we were essentially stuck in the couch. But me and my other friends were just always bike riding. We didn't care. We just went bike riding. That was our thing. And then the plunge. You're saying the plunge.
I was just having that conversation with somebody the other day that we used to go bike riding. I mean, literally, parents would just kind of like kick us out of the house in the morning and say, be home when the streetlights come back on. When the streetlights are on, you better be home. And other than that, we went out, we rode our bikes, and we never had water. You think about things like that. We never had like thermoses of water or anything. We would just ride, and when we got thirsty, we'd stop at somebody's house and turn their hose on and drink out of the hose. And you say that now, and kids are like, "You drank out of the hose?" And it's like, "Yeah, that was."
We didn't care.
Nobody minded. I mean, people. You just turn on their hose, you drink and turn it off, and people are just like, "Yeah, it's kids, they're getting water, or whatever." And but yeah, it's definitely a different time. But I mean, I remember Shakey's. We used to go to Shakey's, and
Oh
they
my
had all the
God.
games. And go over there, have some pizza, and play video games. And
Remember
I
those
mean,
days.
good times when we were growing up. But it's a great place to grow up, and a lot of history here. And like I said, I wouldn't change where I live for anything. And I have my business here, and I've been very fortunate with my business, and I've got a couple hundred employees that work for me, and really just try to help them provide for their families. And, that's a good feeling too. It's a good feeling. It's part of, kind of me giving back is the opportunity for these individuals to work and earn a living. And, that's a great feeling too. So, providing for our economy and, um, investing in a lot of the nonprofits. And and I'm very fortunate. All 9 years I've been on the council, I give back all my council stipend to charity. And I just, I don't do it for. I mean, it's not. Let me make it straight. We don't get a whole lot of money, but the money that we do get on the city council, I donate back to our nonprofits and our charities here in the valley, specifically in El Centro, obviously, but valley-wide. There's a lot of great organizations that are based, in the Imperial Valley that might not necessarily be in El Centro, but do a lot of great work for everybody. And so I support those. And like I said, I'm fortunate enough that I don't need that stipend, and so I give back. And so, but this city and this county has given a lot to me. Like I said, born and raised here, fully educated here. I was able to graduate Central, Spartans, and then went on to IBC, and then I went and did my bachelor's and master's over at San Diego State in Calexico, and only ever had to go to San Diego for a couple classes, and the rest of the time I was able to get my full master's, all the way up to my master's degree, basically here in Imperial Valley. That's a great thing, to have the opportunity for higher education and never really have to leave home. And so, this valley and this city's given a lot to me, and I'll continue to give back and for as long as I can, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and no, October 3rd, October 5th, absentee ballots come in, so don't forget to vote. And November 3rd is election day. The traditional, I call it the traditional.
Yeah,
I'll be out there both days, so I'm excited to see the outcome of it because it's presidential slash city, so it's going to be a big turnout. That's all I'm hoping.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think it'll probably be one of the biggest turnouts we've ever had. Obviously there's a lot of motion on the national elections, and so that will probably drive a lot more people to voting, which is a great thing. Getting people engaged and getting people to uh, really get involved with who represents their city and who makes decisions. It's important. It's important that who are making the decisions, and if those decisions are in alignment with your beliefs. And um, being pro law enforcement, as opposed to somebody that maybe isn't pro law enforcement. Being part of somebody that wants to provide a safe community for our children, as opposed to somebody that maybe wants to defund our police department. And I don't even know what they would do defending our police department. I don't know what that means or what that looks like. People say, well, it's kind of like the thing to say lately. It's like, oh well, we're going to defund our police department. Okay, but those are also the
how?
same people that, when as soon as something bad happens in their neighborhood, they're the first ones calling 911. So if you're defunding your police department, who's going to show up to those calls? Who's going to be that person that's going to come and save you and help you, through that tragedy, whatever it is. So there's people out there that maybe want to get on the city council and make decisions that don't align with your beliefs, and you really need to investigate on who these individuals are that want to run, why they want to run, what their purposes are, what their agendas are. Like I said, if there was a lot of issues in the city, when I first ran for city council, the city of El Centro did have a lot of issues with our streets, and I ran partly on the platform of, hey, elect me, and I'm going to work on streets. And part of my reelection 5 years ago was, at that point we had repaved 85% of our streets, and I got reelected. We had 7 people running. I came in first place, and I think part of that was because I said, hey, elect me, and I'm gonna work with these, with my colleagues on the council and city staff, and we're going to address this. This is something that everybody experiences at that time of poor streets in the city of El Centro. And so when I came up for election 4 years later, we had been able to repave 85% of all of our streets in El Centro. And I think that spoke volumes. I came in, I didn't make a whole lot of promises to people because I think that Making campaign promises are that's a pit that you don't really want to get into, especially
Yeah.
if you don't know what you're getting into. And I think a lot of times people make these comments like, oh, well, we're going to fix homelessness, but they've got no idea what that means. They have no idea, what's been done, what's been tried, what hasn't, worked, things like that. And so, I think the only promise I really made is that I was going to work my butt off to make things better in El Centro, and I was going to address, the streets. And we were able to. And you look at our streets now; they're in great shape. We widened the Brucherie, we fixed Euclid. I mean, those were streets that everybody knows
Or
about.
small.
Euclid, it was horrible. La Brucherie was horrible.
Holes on
You know,
the pavements.
yeah, and so now La Brucherie is widened and it's great shape. And we've got some new businesses off of that. The new Circle K that built there, and uh, you know. Um, uh, Juice Joy opened up right down the street there, and because there's more traffic and more people to go up and down there, and so we're starting to see a little bit of businesses that are really benefiting from that expansion on the Brucherie. We're doing a big underground project right now on Imperial Avenue. People are like, "Well, when are you going to fix Imperial Avenue?" And um, we could have fixed it probably 6, 7, 8 months ago, but the issue is we knew that this pipe project was coming, and it doesn't do any good to spend a whole bunch of taxpayer money fixing the cities, fixing a street, and then 8 months later tearing it all up so that we can do the underground piping and rehabilitate that. So we postponed that, and then as soon as we're done with this project on the water pipes and sewer pipes, then we'll go through there and repave it, so that will be addressed. And I have had comments about the intersection of Adams and Imperial Avenue. Unfortunately, that's state, that's Caltrans, that's the business route 86, and so we actually don't have any say over how that gets addressed. Although we are constantly putting pressure on Caltrans to address that intersection, and our relationship with Caltrans is getting better. Caltrans is notorious for being a little difficult to work with sometimes, but we've got some new representatives, and I think that is going better. We are working to have Adams Avenue and Imperial Avenue relinquished to the city of El Centro. Currently, like I said, it's under control of Caltrans in the state of California, so they're in charge of. Like I got lots of calls about the weeds in the median on Imperial Avenue. That's not us. We don't have the ability to address that. That's strictly Caltrans. Although we put a lot of pressure on them, and we shamed them as much as we could to get them to go out there and finally clean it up. That wasn't the responsibility, or even the we don't have the jurisdiction to go in there and do that. But once we negotiate, and we've been in negotiations with the state for the last 2 years, and I think we're getting progressively closer to seeing Imperial Avenue and Adams Avenue relinquished to the city of El Centro, which is good and bad. On one hand, we then have control. So if we need to close roads, do things, it's not a big bureaucracy of having to work with the state to do so. But with that comes the responsibility of maintaining that as an additional roadway. And so the part of the negotiations that we're in now is that we are not going to take possession of that until the state comes in. And you've seen them do a lot of work already with ADA access to the curbs and street intersections and stuff. So that's them preparing some of that so that when they do turn it over to the city of El Centro, all that work's done. There's two ways of doing it. Either they bring it up to the standards before they give it to us, or they give us the money to do all that work. We opted for them to do the work because just the price of materials and the way that building materials go up and labor goes up, it wouldn't have been enough money for them to give it to the city of El Centro and then us take the responsibility of having that work done. So we're pushing the state to get all that work done prior to them relinquishing it to the city. But once that's done, then we'll have all the control over that roadway.
We froze.
I think you froze up a little bit on me. I guess we've been talking a long time, an hour and a half. It's probably longer than your usual podcasts.
We froze.
There you go. You're
We
back.
froze. Yeah, something
My
about my
brother-
router. I'm like, no, it's my router. Everybody's online now. When it says router, that tells me everybody clicked on now. The family clicked
yeah.
on.
No. Well, I
Yeah,
mean
the only
that's
last question I'm gonna ask you is that we've been having 4 accidents for the past almost 6 months. Our Central PD could tell you. We just had one here in the corner of Hope and Orange, and I was like, oh, I didn't get away. It didn't wake me up, but it woke up the family, and I just give you heads up on that. That's corner of Hope and Orange. There's been accidents lately. I'm putting a camera outside my sister's house because this is crazy, man. These people just jet. They think
yeah.
Orange is like dogwood or Hope is dogwood. I was like, what is going on with these people? It's like
Yeah.
the quarterway of
People,
dogwood. They're just wrecking. Early. This was at 7 this morning on Monday. I forgot to text you on that one, but yeah,
yeah, I'll
yeah,
talk to the chief about that. We might need to put a unit out there and just give some exposure and let people know they got to slow down. But and that happens from time to time. And people will call us and say, hey, people are driving awfully fast down like Lotus or something. And so the chief will work with his staff, and they might put a unit out there and do some traffic enforcement for a few days and just kind of let people know, hey, you guys got to slow down. But yeah, the last thing we need in the city of El Centro is bad traffic accidents where people are getting hurt or worse, getting killed. A child getting run over, anything like that. So hopefully people are a little bit more cautious. But unfortunately, sometimes everybody's in a hurry to get someplace, but we gotta slow down. I do that too sometimes. I'm doing better now, slowing down. But yeah, I think we all got to take a breath once in a while. We're some of us are always on the go, and we're always trying to get things done. And sometimes you just got to sit back and just say, you know what, it is what it is, and it's going to get done when it gets done. And better to be able to do it tomorrow than get hurt or get killed, trying to get it done today and never get it done. Period. So I'm learning to take a couple steps back and try to slow down a little bit, not burn my candle on both ends a little bit. So we'll see how that goes.
yeah. It's like your wife says, slow down. We're gonna get there.
She's always, yeah. And now, and now I've got two little ones at home to make sure I get home to every day. So
Yeah,
it's that's something that weighs on me too. So
yeah. The babies. Yep. I remember it was
yeah,
one. Now it's two.
it's two
Maybe three
now.
and four.
Kenzie and Raiden, they're a handful already. Kenzie's getting ready to turn 3, and she thinks she's turning 13, I think. And
Oh my god.
Raiden's going to be my little fearless daredevil that he's just. I tell Sandra all the time. I think he's going to be the one we're going to be making a lot of trips to the ER or something because he just has no fear. So, but
Oh
it's
my
it's
god.
it's fun. It's fun being a dad, and it's another chapter of my life that I'm very much enjoying. So,
Yep, they grow big because my son's 21, and they still call him a baby, and I go, yeah, he's still a baby in my eyes, but he's 21 now. But yeah,
yeah, yeah, they do grow fast.
yeah. But yeah, buddy, I mean, I'm glad we got to talk and let everybody know what's going on. We're now half hour, and I gotta do two more things, and I'm off one segment. I just should have another segment going on. But I know they're gonna contact you. I don't know if Marlene's contact you or what, because I just got a text from her right now. So she's also watching on my YouTube channel. So she just got
Yeah,
off of it, but I know she was on my YouTube channel.
Marlene's a good
So
supporter. She's also giving her endorsement to my campaign and worked really well with her on a lot of issues here in the community. And yeah, it's one of the things, if you're going to run for office, be accessible and work with everybody because everybody that lives in this community is what makes up our community. And you can't get elected to serve one group of individuals or one entity over another. Politics, religion, all that stuff has to be put in the back burner, and you really have to be accessible and willing to work with everybody. And Marlene is an example of that. I've worked with her for years, and she's been a great advocate for a lot of different movements. And I contacted her early on in my reelection and asked her, if she'd support me, and without hesitation, she said, absolutely. You're always there for us. Whenever I call you, you always answer your phone. You show up at all of our events and you give us, that support. So, I'm very fortunate to have just such a wide range and a broad base of support that probably more so than anybody else in this election or in any other election, because it's all over the place. It's unions, it's small business, it's social justice, it's Christian base, it's Catholics, it's everybody. And because I don't look at people by their tagline or by their beliefs or what they're belong to. It's they're a resident of El Centro, and if they need help, then they need help, and that's the job of a council member. And so I think that's something that a lot of people respect with me is that they know they can always call me. Uh, I'm very accessible. I leave my phone number is posted on my Facebook page. It's posted on the city website, and that's my direct cell number. And people call me all the time. I get calls, I get texts, I get all kinds of communication. And if I don't answer the phone right then, I always return their call within an hour or so, and people know that. And so I, on the downside, I get a ton of calls because they know I'm going to be responsive. But I love helping people, and so it's fun to do.
Yeah, you were taught well with your dad and your mom, because I know your mom used to cut my hair back in the day too.
Yep, I was blessed with two great parents that really taught me a lot. Taught me, I really taught me right from wrong. Taught me how to help people and how to support your community, how to give back, and so yeah. So now I'll pass that on to my kids.
Well, yeah, that's what we gotta do. Toss the, to the kids, because they're gonna know what's going on. My son's seeing. He's engaged when I do these interviews. He's tripping out, but he's on the side burner, just looking at what Dad's doing, because he knows it's fun, but it's also good and bad. And I always tell him there's good and bad in this business, but I'm used to it already.
Yeah.
I did not sign up for something, and I didn't think I was getting myself into. But yeah, it's fun doing media, but it's also fun doing helping the unfortunate families, and he's done that already in the past, and I taught him to do the same thing. So yeah, we're high unemployment rate, but things are happening back. Hopefully, we get off that high unemployment rate. That's another thing I forgot to mention, but yeah, that's later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, buddy, I gotta log off.
I appreciate the time, and it's good talking to you. Good talking to all your listeners, and just say, share this. And I think a lot of people are looks like a lot of people logged on today and looking on. And so, please come out
Tracy
and
Ranko's
vote.
a veteran. He's on here. Still out of inbox. Tracy Ranko.
Yeah, Tracy's a good guy. Glad to have him home and doing good. So now we're working for everybody, whether it's the veterans or the seniors or the kids or whatever. That's what I'm about. That's what my campaign's about, and that's what I've done for 9 years. And with the support and the votes of El Centro, I'll do it for 4 more. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to our listeners here.
Thank you, and share.
All right, buddy. Thanks. You have a good night.